So it was basically 2 to 3 weeks before the early action common application deadline. It was for college, and it was basically crunch time. And it were these 2 words, driving force, that I would reflect upon as I sat at my desk, staring deeply into space, trying to recollect every single accomplishment and merit I had attained and worked so hard for. But as I sat there and tried to list down every class, every honor, and every activity I had taken and partook in, it dawned upon me. Only 3 things mattered. Only 3 little things mattered. Oh, where's the... Oh. And these were little things. Now, one of my favorite quotes of all time was revolutionary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden's, "It's the little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen." A simple saying with such a profound meaning. Now, to elaborate, my 3 little things were basketball, the performing arts, and service. Athletics, basketball, these two things went hand in hand ever since the 1st grade, since I could dribble and make a free throw. I fell in love with the game. I developed such a deep passion that I trained almost every single day. And every time I stepped on that court, I felt like a whole nother person. I was at peace. I was free. I was free from the outside hustle and bustle of the world. And I was free to express myself. And it didn't matter how I got down that court. It didn't matter if it was a crossover or a spin move. It was a little thing that mattered. It was the fact that the ball would leave my hands and go into that hoop. Next, the performing arts. So I had moved from Michigan to Texas my sophomore year, and one of the classes I had to take was theater. And I'd never stage managed, directed, or acted before, so this was a whole new experience, and I was actually pretty scared. But once my theater family had chosen me to be the stage manager for the sophomore showcase, the final performance of the year, I realized how much fun I would have and how much I would enjoy theater. The play was fantastic, the crew and cast were stellar, and at the end, when I took that bow of my theater family, I realized that without their belief in me, such a small little thing, I would have never been in that position, and thus I was forever grateful. The next 3rd little thing in my life is service. Now, I would love, ever since I was a little boy, I would love to help anybody and any person by any means possible. And whether it meant by tutoring or helping an old lady cross the street, or even stopping by on a busy road to help a guy out with his family problems and his family car, the car problems. I didn't mind going out my way and helping him. Besides, I didn't really mind being late to school either. I got tardy a lot. Sorry, Mom and Dad, you guys are in for a treat when you guys see my attendance records. But it was the little things that mattered, and it was the fact that I could make a difference and bring smiles to people. Before I go to the next big thing, there was still one little thing that mattered. And that was happening in the midst of my path from Detroit to Dallas. So I said I moved my sophomore year, right? That's 10th grade, in the middle of your high school career. That's certainly an odd time to do that, right? But it wasn't voluntary. Let me tell you why. My mom underwent an operation, and everything went wrong. Everything you could think of went wrong. She faced irrational and chronic pains, and the cold weather wasn't helping. So we moved to Texas. But once we got here, the hot weather, the stress of taking care of a high school student, a middle school student, a husband, all whilst working, didn't help either. We basically lived in 4 to 5 different hospitals, moving every now and then, surviving off of Subway, and just trying to make it by. I say that this is important because at the same time, I volunteered at 2 different hospitals, one of which was Methodist Dallas Medical Center in downtown Dallas. At Methodist, I wanted to prove myself to be the best junior volunteer I could. So I instantly worked hard and trained hard in the ER, working my way up from the reception desk all the way to the ER. And I even worked hard in the OR, learning operations and mechanics. And I worked so hard in the ambassador field that I got to train others. And ambassador field is basically patient and family transport. But still, this wasn't enough. So I decided to fuse 2 things that I held passionately close, and that was music and service. I knew the alleviating power of music. I knew that it could help somebody make their day. So with the help of the volunteer coordinators at Methodist, I put together the volunteer music program. Basically, I would go around drafting junior volunteers, adult volunteers, and employees alike, putting together ensembles, duets, solos, and putting together pieces. I was a lead violinist and a director all at the same time. And we would perform in the main lobby and cafeteria, and it was that little thing, that performance for the unwell, that performance that they could look forward to in their day, in their week, that little thing made a difference. And it was at that point that I knew I mattered and I was important. But the real big thing happened, the crux of my 17-year-old life so far, happened as I was transporting a patient, because I was working in the ambassador field, to her car. Now, to give you guys some background information, this family had done it all. They had moved different countries. They had been at one point homeless. They had horrible, horrible experiences at a hospital environment, something I could relate to. And I basically, once she had settled in her car and I had closed the door behind her, she rolled down the window and said this to me: "You've made my stay so much better, and I thank you for that." Now, for other people, other volunteers, they would have said, "You're welcome," and went on their way. But for me, this stuck with me, because this was an unforgettable adage. Because the only thing I had done for this lady was provide her ice chips and be present to her while she told me her family struggle and family turmoil. And by that simplest of means, I had made a difference. It was important. It was important that I had mattered as an individual and that I had made a difference, even though I was a junior volunteer. Now, I'm not telling you guys that once you have to leave here to go and perform a great deed or anything, because that's not your takeaway. What you have to take away is this: my pursuit to become the most compassionate doctor possible, my pursuit to become a person in the medical career was defined by these three little things: athletics, the performing arts, and service, all cohesively held by my personal familial turmoil, and more importantly, my chief ambition to make a difference. But your starting line, per se, to make a difference or to do something in this world is to find that unique, independent passion of yours, to be you always and to never succumb to your surroundings. You have to find that, and then you'll be on your way to making your goal of self-actualization. For once you guys leave this conference, that one little thing that you guys do, or little things that you might do, might lead to a big difference or a big thing in this world, creating some newfound spark. Thank you.